Hello, everybody, and welcome to another new episode on the YouTube channel. So, today I want to talk about the other part of the writer's compass that I had mentioned in the last video. Now, I am getting so many messages and DMs about this because I'm also sharing this on my Instagram too, though not as in depth as I'm sharing here. This is Percy. This is my beloved Percy. He actually, he actually just got out of the animal hospital yesterday. So he is very affectionate, and you can see where they had to shave him to do a lot of ultrasounds and x-rays and everything else. But he is doing great and he's on the mend. Anyway, I want to talk about the writer's compass, the other half. We talked about the north and south axis. Now I want to talk about the west and east. So if you think about it, and I like talking with my hands, and so I can't really do that right now. If you think about it, north and south was that surface and deep. West and east are going to be what I call values and beliefs, the values and beliefs of your characters. And why this is so important is because the big thing with stories that I see all the time as an editor is that sometimes, a lot of times, the plot and the obstacles that the character is in and going after just they aren't showcasing the character enough. Like they aren't pushing the character enough. They aren't scaring the character enough. They aren't making the character have those incredible highs and lows that we really want them to see. I mean, could you imagine if Daredevil, one of my favorite characters, Matt Murdock, he was a blind lawyer. He was Daredevil by night. But could you imagine if he didn't live in New York with a guy named Fisk trying to be mayor and cause havoc all the time? Like, could you imagine if he just lived in a small town and nothing really much happened? He never had to put on the Daredevil suit? You would never get that full story and the full arc of him and his turmoil and anguish about what's right and wrong, about who can be redeemed and who can't, about who he should save and maybe who he shouldn't. Like all of these moral character questions that the plot pulls out of him. So, what's great about this West and East access is that by identifying, by creating really great beliefs and values, the story kind of feels like it'll start writing itself. And so let me dive further into this. So, what are beliefs and values? Let's just start right there. Values are like the capital letter things that your character just they value above all else. It could be God, family, money. So those are things that they just that's it for them. And it's usually only like one thing they value above all else. Beliefs are just their truth. They don't even think about it. It's just their truth. They were either born with it, they grew up with it, something just taught them the hard way that this is it. A belief could be good things happen to good people. A belief could be good girls are always quiet. A belief could be that if you don't ever want bad things to happen to you, you have to live beneath the radar. Like, don't tempt fate. If you shine too bright, if you do too much, if you're too successful, you could tempt fate and it could all go away. So, I'm going to put my kitty down because I feel like I'm speaking directly in his ear and he doesn't like that. So, okay, back in action. So those are values and beliefs. And now, because you have the full compass, what you can start doing is playing around and think to yourself as like the queen or king of the universe. You want to mess this axis up, this west and east. It should not stay like this even keel straight line. It needs to start moving a little bit. It needs to be pulled. I want you to imagine that old doll, Stretch Armstrong. And I want your character to feel like they are pulled this way and pulled that way. And they're just like, how am I going to survive? And as the reader, you're thinking, oh my gosh, how are they going to survive? That doesn't mean literally. Sometimes it means literally, but sometimes it means figuratively too. And so going back to the west and the east axis, We want those pulled taut. So let's say your character values family above all else. That's just their thing. Everything else can fall by the wayside, but it's family here, everything else. Family here, everything else. And a value they have could be just be good. If you are good, you will live a good life. That's it. That's what they value, or that's what their belief is. Like anyone who gets in trouble, it's like they had it coming. If you get in trouble, you had it coming. All you have to do is live a good life, and good things will happen. Now, your job as the author is how can you completely mess that up? And so think to yourself, well, if she values family above everything, then something's going to need to happen to a family member. And if she has this belief, something needs to shake that up. And so you could think, let's say she is like the sole caretaker of her younger brother. Let's say she's in her 30s and her brother is in his teens or something, early 20s. And he gets in trouble with like the local mafia or something. And the mafia comes to her and gives her the ultimate ultimatum: do this for us, or we will hurt your brother. So, how do you reconcile that? Because for her, it's like, just live that good life, follow the rules, don't be too noisy, don't complain. That's a good life. So, good things should happen. But now she values her family, but now her brother's in trouble. And it's like, so what does she do with that? That is the tension. That is her being pulled. And that is what we want. That is what we want because that will incite transformation. It'll incite choice and questions and pushing this character outside of the comfort zone, getting them out of that surface pain. And it's going to start raising that deep pain. What if one of her deep pains is that, like, the surface pain is just raising this kid, making sure let's say he's a teenager. So her surface goal is making sure he just lives until he's 18 and he's like 17 now or 16. The surface pain is just mothering, just being there, being that mother figure and getting him through, getting them both through. But that deep pain could be something like she never signed on for this. She didn't want this. She doesn't know what she's doing. She feels like she's going to fail. She's going to mess his life up forever and never have a life of her own. That could be some serious deep pain. That would keep a person up all night in some night sweats as they think about it. However, that's a pain she shoves way down. That's the slumbering bear. But when you have the West and East line activated, beliefs and values activated, now it's kind of like, remember I said it's like scratching the surface? Now I want you to imagine that line, that surface is your beliefs and values, and you just scratched at it as the queen or king of your universe. That bear is starting to stir. If he doesn't outright wake up, he's starting to like open one eye, you know? And so now we're in a story. Now we're in a story where something's going to nip at her heels. Now we're in a story where she is between a rock and a hard place. Now we're in a story where it's like, what is going to happen? Will the unstoppable object stop? Will the immovable object move? I meant to say unstoppable force. Will the unstoppable force stop? Will the unmovable object move? We don't know. And so we keep turning those pages to find out if and when and how and will and who's going to survive to the end. That's the power of knowing these things. And it's so much more than just that advice of who's your character? Where are they from? What do they look like? You can fill in those things. You should know those things. But I wouldn't start there. I would start at the very heart of your character and what it is that's going on with them. And that's what the compass does. It really, like, if you think of a compass, it guides you toward true north. It guides you out of lost and overwhelm into that clarity and direction. And so if you're thinking like, I keep changing my mind about my character, I keep changing my mind about the plot. Yeah, that makes sense because you're a writer and it's creative and you can have anything and everything happen to a character and inside a plot. You actually need less choice for you to continue so you can write the end. And this compass really helps all the excess fall away so you can see that true north. Now, the great news is I have just touched the surface of the writer's compass, and I haven't even told you about the beat sheet I personally created after working with hundreds of writers and seeing where they were getting stuck, seeing where they needed that extra bit of clarity and just oomph with their process. I haven't even spoken about that, but I am doing a very special live event next week. It is actually all of next week, starting Monday to Friday. You and me are going to meet for about 1 hour every night. We are diving deep into the compass and into the beat sheet, and you are going to be an active participant. I'm gonna, I have hot seats arranged, so you have the chance for me to personally help you out. But I also have a very cool Get It Now bonus where you and me will actually have a private one-on-one where I will personally go over your beat sheet and your compass and make sure they are as strong and amazing and informative for you as they can be. So, details are below. Sign up now. My goal is to get this a full house. So, I have seats. I'm waiting to put your name on one of my post-its. The big white wall is waiting. It's where I put all the student names. And so, sign up now. Get that bonus. Get a bunch of other bonuses I have because I have quite a few, and let's really dissect and look at your characters and story and just elevate the crap out of them. So, drop a comment below if you have any questions, but otherwise, I will see you on Monday. Sign up now. Details below.